Hello and welcome to With Heart and Soul podcast. You're listening to your hosts, David and Jackie. Hi, David.
Hello.
I feel like it's been so long since we've been on and we've taken breaks before, but for some reason, this
Yes.
has felt like the longest break of all time, don't you think?
I agree. And I feel like time is just moving so quick. So it's like, it feels like 2, 3 weeks we haven't talked. So,
It really does. But yeah, we apologize that we didn't put out an episode last Thursday, and we also didn't say we weren't gonna put out an episode. But we both just had personal things going on. So for me, I was sick, and usually when I'm sick, my mental health just starts to go down the drain. So if I'm not feeling positive, I don't really have anything positive to say to anyone else. So I just really needed to take that time off. Plus, my voice hurt. So that was my reason. How about you?
yeah, last week was not a rare occasion, but it was an occasion where I was just anxious. I was tired. I was a little stressed because of like I had a lot of stuff going through my mind and I had to move a lot. I was literally in Florida and Texas last week, and it was just a lot. And then especially I had thoughts of like things that haven't been accomplished yet, things I wanted to accomplish, and it was just like a system overload in a sense. So when Jackie said she wasn't feeling well, I was like, oh no, I hope you get better. But I was kind of like, oh, great. So we could take a little break. But because and I was thinking to myself, I was like, if Jackie would have said anything, I still would have pushed myself to do the podcast. So it's good to have people and friends that you do stuff with because sometimes they could push you in a way that you wouldn't push yourself. So
Mhm. I'm definitely the type of person to like listen to my body. And I mean that in all aspects of my life. Like, even when I'm eating, you know how when something's like really good and you'll just keep eating and eating, and then suddenly you feel like overly full. Like,
yeah.
even to that extent, like I stop and listen to my body so that I don't get that overly full feeling because I don't like it. Similarly, when I overwork myself, I don't like the way that it feels. So listening to my body has helped me so much. And just the way that I felt, I knew that it wasn't a time to be trying to record. I mean, even as we speak right now, I don't feel the best, but I'm trying to do things that I know that I enjoy, which is coming on the podcast and talking to you guys. So that's why I'm kind of like pushing myself, but I'm not sick anymore. So it's okay to push myself today. Um, but yeah, I feel like my vibes are low. I feel like your vibes are low too, David.
It's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week.
Yeah.
I did travel this week already. I was in Florida on Monday, and I'm actually traveling again tomorrow. Today was a lot. I went to the doctor's office, and I had a lot of stuff to catch up on as far as work wise. Um, yeah, so I feel like it's funny because if you guys go back and watch the episodes we did at the beginning of the year, I was like, yeah, everything's moving so slow. Everything's nice and slow. I'm so happy.
Mhm.
Well, things started ramping up very quickly. So,
Oh yeah.
and it's literally the second week of April, and it's like Easter's this weekend, and
Mhm.
before you know, April's over. So it's like, dang, I feel like I can't catch up. And that was like one thing that was speaking to me last week. It's like you feel like you have things you want to accomplish, but you just can't catch up to what you want to do. So, and it's
Mhm.
not enough time. So, I did reach out. So for me, when things like that happen, I have techniques and stuff like that. But one thing that I learned about myself is that if I reach out to people, I start to feel better because I like to have conversations. I reached out to Jackie. I told Jackie what's going on. I told a lot of different people. A lot of people had different opinions for sure. They had, oh, things would get better, those type of conversations. Then I also had people that said, oh, get your coping mechanisms going, do some things that you like
Mhm.
to do and relax and take some time. So I've had mixed bags of people giving advice and stuff. So I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that that can get like convoluted in my mind when I get too much advice from people, but I just take like bits and pieces of what people say and just try to like think of what resonates with me, and that's what I try. So I think that's what you should do because ultimately, like, you know what's best for you and you know what you need right now more than anyone else. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to hear it echoed from like different people, and then you'll be like, you're right, I know that. Like, I know I should be doing that. But yeah, so today we're gonna try to record a shorter episode just to see if um that gives more people time to listen to our episodes, because like we're saying, everybody's so incredibly busy all the time. So maybe a half hour is shorter sometimes, or typically people have a half hour drive to work. So maybe you can listen then, or if you have like a half hour workout in the morning, then this episode will be perfect for you. So we'll see how it goes. We're both very long-winded and we both love to hear ourselves talk. So we'll do our best to like keep this within the half hour range.
Yes, we definitely will try our best. We'll do that. So Jacky, tell us what the topic of today is.
So we decided that we're going to talk about egos today. And I believe that was like because of our last episode, we just felt inspired to talk about your ego. I actually was looking on Google a little bit because, you know, I am not the person with an educational degree here. But I do know a lot of things about this, which is why we decided to collaborate together. But I'm sure David will have more to say about this. But to my understanding, I feel like the ego is what your conscious mind wants to do, and it's not always what's best for you. Your ego is selfish. So sometimes when it comes to having disagreements with your partner or literally just anyone, your ego can get in the way, and your ego is very prideful.
No, you said it perfectly. It's a book that I read a while ago, a couple years ago, by this author named Ryan Holiday. He does like a lot of like introspective, mind thinking type of books. He had a book called Ego is the Enemy. Ego is the Enemy. And that's very powerful because it talks about how your ego can pretty much be your downfall. Your ego can really set you up and put you in bad situations if you feed that ego too much. That's why, you know, we talk about balance a lot. We talk a lot about being harmonized with your emotions, because if you let certain parts of you take over, yeah, maybe for instance, it may feel good, but at the end of the day, it will do more damage to you than you actually think. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you said about that.
I think I struggle with my ego a lot, and I can see it happening like when I'm having a fight, like a disagreement in my relationship. Like a lot of the times when Jacky will try to tell me something that I did wrong, I feel like this feeling in my chest of like I just feel irritated. Like, and I started to recognize that that's my ego. Like I don't like to hear that I've done anything wrong. And so it requires for you to consciously tell yourself to calm down and actually listen to what the person is saying, and not to take everything so personally. My ego definitely likes to take everything personally. I think that I can tend to like want everything my way. And I also like attention. So all of those things are not like positive things that my ego wants for me.
Yeah. I mean, and that's good. That's a good self-awareness on your end as well, because there's a lot of people that don't even recognize that their ego is taking over and they're being selfish. And I'm the type of person that says it's okay to be selfish, but it's being selfish at the right moments. I think a lot of people tend to be selfish in the wrong moments. And what the wrong moments mean. Wrong moments literally mean when you're, as you said, you're having a discussion with your fiance, and you tend to steer the conversation to you, or you make it about you or what things that you need. And it's okay to care about your needs, but at the same time, you have to put yourself in that other person's shoes as well. I think the biggest thing, especially for me with my ego, is that I feel like people have to acknowledge me, at times, especially when being a friend or being a partner and stuff like that. And when I don't feel acknowledged, it kind of hurts my ego. And then I tend to just drift away a little bit. Not to say that I'll stop talking to you altogether, but it's just kind of like, okay, I see how you act towards me. So I'm going to feel some type of way until I get over it. And that's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. But that's my ego. So
Oh my God, I hope I don't make you feel that way. I feel like I'm not like a really good friend when you like talk about like what you want out of your friendships. Do you feel like you get what you want out of our friendship, or do I make you feel those ways sometimes?
oh no. I think what's the one thing, the only one good disagreement we had was that time when we had to cancel the episode of the podcast. But that was like the only one time that we've actually had a disagreement. No, I don't. I think you are conscious of my presence, And I think that's the most important thing. I think for me, because I grew up with me being a people pleaser and me trying to make sure everybody else is okay, I kind of feel at this point, since I'm not trying to be a people pleaser anymore, I do kind of feel like, dang, when people don't really acknowledge the friendship or acknowledge me, it kind of makes me feel like, okay. Not to say it hasn't happened a lot, but there are cases that it has happened, like, friendships that are no longer friendships anymore, or you feel like people are directing things towards you when it's not really something you did. So it's like those type of things, situations. But as far as you, no, I don't think you bruised my ego. But it's okay. It's okay to get your ego bruised sometimes. It's okay. It's okay. So
what you're referring to, I just want our listeners to know that we recorded an episode and like the audio was bad in my opinion, and I felt like the content was bad too, just because my vibes were low and like I just hated it. I hated it. And when I listened to it, I did text David and I said I didn't like it. But then you were just like, oh, let's just go with it. And I was just like, fine. But then like was it the day of, like the morning of?
It was the morning of, like maybe an hour before I was going to post it.
Yeah, Thursday morning, I told him not to post it. And then you weren't rude or anything. Like, I think that you were just very honest, which I appreciated. But you just said, I like put in a lot of extra work this morning. I could have taken my time. I'm traveling. Like, you should have told me in advance. And I wasn't upset. I felt bad. And that is because I did not let my ego get in the way. Like, I feel like an egotistical person would have started an argument with you. Like, did you have any fear in you that like that would start an argument if you were honest about your feelings with me?
So no, it wasn't more of the fact that I had to. Okay, so the thing that I do to check my ego is that I don't act immediately. I actually take my time, because I've seen people in my life, and I've done it as well sometimes, when the first thing I think about, I act on it, and it was more just my ego. Like, I felt some type of way about it, and I'm like, Jacky, you should have did this, or you should have did that, blah, 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 because you didn't realize what was going on with me. I mean, I could have easily said that, but I was like, okay, how can I say this in a way that to make her understand how I feel, but at the same time, express to her that I hope this doesn't happen again, type of situation. And it was a similar situation to that. Was so I'm planning a trip Labor Day weekend, which is like, my birthday is the 31st, so like, it's not my birthday trip or anything like that, but it's just more like a summer trip. Definitely going to invite you and Jacky. If you can go, that's perfectly fine. It's in Jamaica in September. And it's a group, like, it's initially a group of friends that we're trying to plan the breakdown of everything. Mm-hmm. That way, then we can start passing out the information. Once we have the information cleaned up, have every detail in it, and then that way we could pass it on to people and say, hey, if you want to come, if you don't, that's perfectly fine. So one thing that got me kind of upset was that we were moving along, progressing. And then I had a friend that basically was like, hey, let's just stop for a little bit and make sure everybody's okay with everything. And I'm just like, there's 15 people in this group at this moment. We're not going to please everybody. So we can't stop just because maybe one or two people are not happy with a certain thing. If the majority is cool with it, then we're going to move forward. But if it's one or two people, not to say their opinion doesn't matter, but I'm literally the one doing all the research. I'm literally the one looking up everything, making sure it's accommodating for everybody, making sure everybody's vote matters. And it's just like, you're not acknowledging the work that I'm putting into it, but rather you're just telling me to hold on because somebody else is not ready. And it was kind of my ego was like, and then I talked to Sierra about it. And then the initial message that I had, she was like, oh, that's kind of mean. I was like, okay, let me dial it back a little bit. And I sent a very plain, basic message that, hey, it's everybody's celebration, because it's other people's birthdays around that time too. So I was like, it's everybody's celebration, it's a majority. Whoever is, this is a majority for everybody. But I was talking to my other friend, and he basically said, how about we just take the birthday thing out? And it's just a vacation. It's just a vacation. If you want to celebrate your birthday, go ahead. But if it's something where you thought that this was it for your birthday and we didn't choose a location that you wanted to go to, they should have every right to choose a separate thing for their birthday. And if they want to come on this trip, then it's perfectly fine. I was like, okay, that makes more sense. That's more reasonable. Because my ego at first was like, I'm doing all this work, I'm putting on this work, and I'm over here stressing myself out to make sure everybody's accommodated, and it looks like you're not valuing it.
Yeah.
So, and then that goes back to what I said, that the one thing that does make me go and attack mode on my ego is when you literally see me doing all this work and you don't acknowledge it, but you have a problem with it. So
Yeah, I hear you.
mm-hmm.
I think like what I'm getting out of this, and what I hope like the people who are listening get out of this, is like your ego wants to like respond right away and like do like a quote unquote gut reaction, but it's not always the right thing. And I feel like for me, when I do like fire off those texts, I will hit send also. Like I will so hit send, and then I regret it so bad. Like I used to be one of those, not to separate men and women, but I would be one of those women to send like those crazy messages, and like I will keep going until the fire in my chest is burnt out. Like I'll keep sending them until I feel good about myself in that moment. And then like once you stop and you sit down and you sit back, it's just like, dang, I really just did that, and you can't take it back. Like I just did this repeatedly and repeatedly until I realized that like for after I'm done doing this, I do not feel good for an extended amount of time. Like there's no reason to do that. Like I acted out of character. And I feel like your ego does make you act out of character.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's like when after you said after the fact, you're like, dang, this is not really me. Like, who is this person saying this stuff? Or who is this person that did this? Because dang, I'm not really this person. But then again, you let your ego take control. And I think that's the biggest thing about it all, is that we all have an ego. It's not like you should be like, oh, I'm just so perfect that I have no issues within myself. No, we all have issues within ourselves. It's just that, what are you doing about your ego? Are you letting your ego take control over your situations and your circumstances, and then you have to do cleanup afterwards? Or are you actually saying, okay, I see myself about to do this, am I checking myself so that this doesn't go left, where this could have been something that could have been easily resolved? So
it's like when you watched cartoons like growing up, and the cartoon had like two people sitting on either shoulder, and there was like a devil and an angel.
Yeah.
That the ego is more of like the devil, and your conscious voice, the voice that actually wants what's best for you, is the angel. So I think that we all have those two voices in our mind, and I feel like everything about conscious work and self-awareness is about talking to those two voices that are going on and choosing wisely between the two of them. Like I feel like before I realized this, I was just like floating through life. Like I don't know what I was doing or why I was doing it, but when I started to really wake up and just be like, I'm in here, like I'm in here and I'm not listening. Now when I listen, there's like these two voices. I feel like one is in the front and the other one is like in the back, and they have conversations with each other, and I have to sit down and be like, all right guys, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do it quickly, and sometimes you can take some time to think about it. But if you do need time, then take the time, especially if you're having like a disagreement with your partner. I will feel my ego. I feel like my ego feels like something in my chest, and like in my disagreement, I will feel it just building and building, and I'm starting to get that fire where I want to send those little crazy texts. Well, once I start feeling that in my chest, I know I'm like, I need to take a step back, and I need to really like think and like self-reflect, like what is going on right now, because I'm not acting in a way that's going to resolve this problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. And as you said, the beautiful thing is that being self-aware and doing the work to be self-aware, because we all know people. I know people, you probably know people that whatever they think, they're going to say. Whatever they feel like they're going to do, they're going to do. And then you see their lives, you're like, you're not really living the life that I want to live. So, sometimes we just got to take a step back and check ourselves and say, hey, is this who I really want to put out into this world? Like, this is not the best version of myself. And I think that's what the ego does. It doesn't present the best version of yourself. It just presents the raw emotion of yourself. And sometimes it's good. Trust me. Sometimes your ego is necessary. Like, for example, your ego might be necessary to like get over a fear, or to push yourself to a limit that you're not really used to. Maybe confronting someone that you feel like you're too afraid to do. I mean, these things do happen, or having that discussion with your significant other where your usual self wouldn't really do. Those are cool. You should channel the power of your ego, but at the same time, you can't let your ego take control of your life. So
Yes, I completely agree. We have like 10 minutes left, so I feel like we did like educate a little bit. I feel pretty good about it. What do you think?
yeah, I think we killed it. We did.
We
We
killed it.
did.
I
We
was like,
killed
dang, look at all this stuff I'm saying.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to drop small little segments, but I guess we'll do our best for social media, so it can get the little was it eye catchers? Is that what they call it? Little eye catchers, or
Oh, I don't know.
yeah, whatever they are. So
But we'll listen back to it and see if we like it. But yeah, it took a lot for us to be able to do this episode because we're both, I think, feeling some negative things right now just about like social media and stuff like that. It just feels like nobody's listening, and it feels like no matter how hard we try, no matter what we do, like nobody's listening. But we know that there are people listening. So if you're listening, let us know. Send us a text, DM us, or comment. We'd love to know who's out there listening, and let us know if this helped you at all. We would appreciate that.
yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, as we talked about a little before the podcast, it bruises our ego when we're like, damn, we're putting all this work in, we're carving out time to get this going, we're editing, we're putting all this work in, and it's kind of like we hope people listen to us because it's kind of like, dang, what are we doing this for? But we know at once we get past those emotions that the ego brings, we realize that, hey, it's important, because we do get that feedback once in a while. We do get the people commenting underneath our Instagram messages. We do get the people telling us that, hey, I listened to this episode, it was great, even though they don't post it. they don't tell they don't post it on social media, but at least we do get the people that actually say that they do listen. So it does boost our ego up a little bit, with that. So keep boosting our ego up. Tell us what you think. Even if you don't like it, at least that tells us something. So
Yes. And I was telling David that my family's downstairs having dinner right now, and I'm not there, and I haven't eaten yet, just because I had to carve out the time to be here. And I actually just got back home from visiting my sister. She's hospitalized right now. So that was another reason why I just like really did not feel like recording. I feel like I have a lot going on. I feel like just everything is making me sad, and I'm worried about her, and I could be having dinner downstairs, but I'm doing this.
yeah.
So ultimately I know that this will make me feel good. So hopefully it makes you guys feel good as well.
Yeah, and it's really the sacrifices that people don't know that affects people the most. Sometimes we just don't want to share some things because we don't think it's important, even though it's important to us. So I didn't even know that about your sister, but thankfully you're still able to take the time out to talk and just share your spirit, your heart, your mind, and your soul.
All the things.
Yes, to the podcast, because we could easily say forget this, but we know that there's at least someone listening right now to this podcast. Whenever they listen to it, it could be 5 years from now because it's into the internet now, but we know that it will make an impact, because ego work is like a life, just like healing, it's a lifelong practice, because one day you might think you got it, that you good. Next minute you have somebody trying you and you're like, you're ready
Yeah.
to just go crazy. So
Mhm.
it happens. We're not perfect.
Exactly. Very true. But yeah, if anybody's listening who is a believer of God, I'm going to ask all of you to put in some prayers for my sister. She's having a surgery tomorrow, so hoping that it goes well. I'm sure that it will. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm sure that it will.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's what we have for you guys today. I hope it helped. I think it helped me. I feel like I understand egos more now. So yeah.
Yeah, me too. And also it was good because we are able to both express examples of how ego has affected us. So I hope it was freeing for both of us. It was freeing for me. I feel
Oh
free.
yeah.
Yeah.
It affects me every day. Every
Yeah.
day.
But with that being said, thank you everyone for listening and watching to the With Heart and Soul podcast. You can find us in any podcast channel or station you listen to. If you cannot, let us know. With Heart and Soul podcast, you can find us on Instagram. Comments and slide in our DMs if you want to be a guest or you have a topic that you want us to talk about, get our viewpoints from. Also, we are on YouTube, so you can see our lovely faces with Heart and Soul Podcast. Like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. We're on SoundCloud as well with Heart and Soul Podcast. Jacky's amazing business, See Where We Land. They're on Etsy. Also, they're on Instagram as well. DM them so you can get some customized thrifted clothes that look amazing. Just go on their page. You see that they put some amazing work out there into the world, and it's for a good cause as well. My business, Collab Coaching, COLAB Coaching, www.yourcollabcoach.com, Instagram Collab Coaching, YouTube Collab Coaching, Facebook Collab Coaching. If you're ready for coaching, personal relationship coaching, go to my website, fill out that relationship checklist. Also, you can sign up for that free 15-minute coaching session. And then Jacky's personal Instagram, she posted some amazing stuff. Love, peace, and kindness. Go ahead and message her. She's amazing. She posts her daily workouts. I saw her post some workout this morning. And she posted some good fashion tips as well. As I said, she's going to become a fashion stylist soon. I see that happening. And with that being said, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, thank you guys for listening and watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.